My name is Heather Meitner, and I'm a social worker by trade, and I come from Boston, Massachusetts, where I work as a training manager for our child protection agency there. I've been invited to California to provide coaching and training on signs of safety practice as it's implemented in counties currently in Northern California. We have learned a lot from the signs of safety practice that stems from the work of Andrew Trunnell in Western Australia around how we can better engage families in a process of understanding why they're involved with child protection system and how we can get them out of our system. Signs of safety is a process that allows us to engage a family in getting on the same page with the agency about why they're involved with child protection services, what actually was harmful of their behavior to a child, what is it that they might need to do differently to move to a place where child protection and all the people in their lives are less worried, and we might be able to leave their family, as well as getting clear about what are the things that the court system and other providers in the community, what role they might be able to play that might look differently, and how they can really support the family in a different way so that they no longer need our services or intervention. So there isn't a prescribed way to implement signs of safety practice. We hope that for child protection systems that it is slightly shifting the way in which they focus their time with families, and that may lead to documenting in their system differently, but every organization and every jurisdiction needs to figure out, based on their current statutory laws, guidelines, rules, policies, practices, procedures, how it's going to fit into their unique circumstances. So there might need to be some policy changes or practice changes, ways in which they document it in their electronic system might need to be different, but in general, each system needs to tailor how they're going to implement signs of safety approach to be most effective for their system. However, it does require not just on-the-ground practice changes by social workers, it does require those systemic macro changes as well. Families benefit from signs of safety, at least they're telling us that they feel that the approach is very respectful, that it's extremely collaborative, and it allows them to really focus on what they're doing well, not just what's going wrong for their families, and in specifics, how what they're doing well benefits their kids. We want to make sure that everybody connects the dots between the behaviors that the caregivers are taking and what that impact is going to be on their kids, for better or for worse. So how does all the things that are working well for the family link to mitigating or minimizing the danger or risk in the household? Signs of safety was developed and devised for the most high-risk cases. Families that have many, many factors that make their kids vulnerable, such as kids between the ages of 0 and 5, where they can't speak for themselves and can't contribute to keeping themselves safe, those higher risk cases, cases where there's denied child abuse, where the cause of the harm or injury to the child is unknown or no one is admitting to what happened. Signs of safety allows us to engage those families, whether there's admission or not, and how we can join together and partner in a collaborative way to create and enhance future safety. I'd like to share some of the exciting things that agencies are seeing as they implement signs of safety practice. Workers are sharing that it makes them feel more effective at their job, that their engagement in building a relationship and rapport with the family is enhanced through using the signs of safety approach. Families are reporting that, especially for families that have been involved with our system in the past, it is far more respectful with this approach than they'd experienced with prior approaches to child welfare intervention. So getting the buy-in of the families so that they are more motivated to change more quickly is a piece that has excited social workers. Struggles and challenges on the flip side that systems are experiencing are when their policies, capital P, that feels like it takes an act of Congress to change, need to change in order to support the implementation of the practice. Sometimes we ask workers to do the signs of safety approach in addition to the pieces that they're already asked to do by their system. And that feels like more work and an increased workload, when in reality, if you're to replace certain aspects that are not helping us get effective outcomes with this time spent on signs of safety intervention instead, workers feel like it can be really productive. The challenge is helping the bottom-up groundswell excitement about this work match the top-down systematic changes that need to occur to support it. When the leaders get behind signs of safety practice, workers are able to do more of it. Sometimes it feels like there can be a struggle when different people are at different places in their learning curve. with the adoption of the practice. Training practitioners in the Signs of Safety approach has given me so many live case examples. I love being able to learn just as much from them as they learn from me as we exchange information about the process. The more time we can spend talking about the ways in which there's practical application for them, depending on their role with families in the casework process, it's been really, really enlightening to find out that sometimes our assumptions about what families need from our perspective as experts isn't always the case. And so this has really helped us to get clear and concrete and really describe what's happening in the families in a very behaviorally specific way, getting concrete about specific examples of the parent's behavior, not just making overarching generalizations using clinical terminology or jargon. So one of my favorite things about training is when a worker has that aha moment of, wow, I don't have to think of big flowery words, I can just state what happened versus what didn't happen and the impact on the child, and then everybody's on the same page. It really does help us kind of get back to that classic social work intervention and less thinking about our compliance and our systems and some of the ways in which we've maybe over-professionalized our system. I think if I were to add one additional thing, workers don't have to know it all and get it perfect all the time. The most important thing is to try something that seems like it will be helpful in your caseload and actually implement it once with one family on one case. And if it goes well, do it on a second case. There's no need to feel an overwhelm of, oh my goodness, now I have to overhaul my entire way in which I look at this work. That's not at all what Signs of Safety is trying to ask us to do, and that if each person takes one step forward every single day to do a little more of it, we will all wake up in time and see our system has actually shifted.